Hi, welcome back. Today I am going to talk about Pharmacopoeia. Some of the earliest Pharmacopoeia books included the Canon of Medicine of Avicenna in the 1020s and other Pharmacopoeia books by Abu Rayhan Biruni in the 11th century, Ibn Suhar in the 12th century, and Ibn Baitha in the 14th century. The first work of the kind published under government authority appears to have been that the Nuremberg in 1542. An earlier work known as the Antidotum Florinum had been published under the authority of the College of Medicines of Florence. The term Pharmacopoeia first appears as a distinct title in a work published at Basel in 1561 by Dr. A. Foyes, but does not appear to have come into the general use until the beginning of 17th century. Pharmacopoeia is the theoretical part of the pharmacy. The word pharmacopoeia is derived from the two Greek words pharmakon means a drug and poios means to make. Now, come to the definition of Pharmacopoeia. It is the supreme authoritative book published by the authority of the government, by a country or any medical or the pharmaceutical society, either constituted or authorized by the government of any country, which deals with the rules and regulations of standardization of drug substances. The Pharmacopoeia incorporates the direction for the collection of drug substances from different sources, their preparation, preservation, and standards that determine their strength and purity, and also include about external applications, prescription writing, posology, and monograph of drugs. There are two types of homeopathic pharmacopoeias: official pharmacopoeia and unofficial pharmacopoeia. Official pharmacopoeia published by the government or any authority of the government. For example, German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, British Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, and Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India. And the other one is Unofficial Pharmacopoeia. Unofficial Pharmacopoeia published by any person or a pharmaceutical company other than the government. For example, M. Bhattacharya and Co.'s Pharmacopoeia, Encyclopedia of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia by P. M. Verma and Indu Vaid, and Brazilian Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, Pakistan Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, etc. Now let's see about the history of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. There is no separate pharmacopoeia written by the master, but the knowledge of homeopathic pharmacy scattered over his famous masterpieces such as Organon of Medicine, Chronic Diseases, Materia Medica Pura, and his many other articles. In 1805, Hahnemann first announced his new method of pharmacological process in the treatise Fragmenta de Verbis Medicamentorum Positives Sive Insano Corpor Humano Observatis. Between the year 1810 and 1830, Hahnemann published his Organon of Medicine, that is volume 1 to 6, and Materia Medica Pura part 1 to 6, and Chronic Diseases part 1 to 4. In all these publications, there are general and special rules and instructions are given for the preparation of homeopathic medicines. In each edition of Organon of Medicine, the homeopathic pharmacy was thoroughly evaluated. The first homeopathic pharmacopoeia, Dispensatorium Homoeopathicum, was written by Dr. Karl W. Kasperi of Leipzig in Germany and published in the year 1825. Subsequently, various homeopathic pharmacopoeia appeared from different countries. Now, let us see about the German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, otherwise known as GHP. In the year 1825, Dr. Karl W. Kasperi of Leipzig, Germany, published the first homeopathic pharmacopoeia named Dispensatorium Homoeopathicum. In each new edition of German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia contains new developments. In the 1979 edition of German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, there was the inclusion of new directions of methods such as special analysis. Dr. von Wilmar Schabe of Leipzig in Germany was also published a homeopathic pharmacopoeia in the year 1872 as Pharmacopoeia of Homeopathic Polyglotta in 1880. The second edition, that is in English edition of this work, was published. In 1929, the second English edition was published. This was the later revised and is known as today as Dr. Wilmar Schabe Homeopathics Arsenbuch, which was subsequently accepted as official German homeopathic pharmacopoeia. Now, let us see about British Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, otherwise called BHP. You know, the first British Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published in 1870 by the British Homeopathic Society in London. Subsequently, the second and were published in the year 1876 and the third edition in 1882. It is to be noted that the British Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia is not an official pharmacopoeia because of its non-recognition of the Royal Charter. But due to its intrinsic merit and value, it is accepted by the homeopathic profession of England and abroad. The Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of United States 1941 was given acceptance to British Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia due to general principles laid down in its regarding preparation and standardization of drugs. Now, let us see about Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of United States of America, otherwise called HPUS. You know, the first homeopathic pharmacopoeia in the United States of America came in the year 1897, named Pharmacopoeia of American Institute of Homeopathy by the American Institute of Homeopathy and published by Otis Klops and Sons Inc. Agent, Boston, USA. Its second editions appeared in 1901. Subsequently, it has done several editions, of which the sixth edition was published in 1941, which include new method of mother tincture preparation. And the seventh revised edition was published in 1964 and the eighth edition in 1979. Later, the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Convention of the United States was constituted in 1980 and resolved to change the formats of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the United States. The revision service updated annually. The publications of the revision service was in 1988. The latest revision was in 2003. Now, come to the French Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, otherwise called FHP. French Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, published in the name of Pharmacopoeia Homéopathie Française, firstly published in 1898. The French Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia gives valuable information on nosodes, sarcodes, and introduced many new drugs on germotherapy, organotherapy, and lithotherapy. Now, let us see about Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India, otherwise called HPI. Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India is the official book of standards of homeopathic medicines in terms of Schedule 2 of the Drug and Cosmetic Act 1940 and Rules 1945. The Indian manufacturers are legally bound to manufacture homeopathic medicines as per standards and methodology are given in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India. If the standards of some drugs are not included in the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India, manufacturers are free to undertake to manufacture as per any recognized pharmacopoeia of other countries like the German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, United States Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, etc. Import and exports of homeopathic medicine should also be based on the standard as laid down in the Pharmacopoeia. Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India also help in the checking, testing and of standards of homeopathic raw materials and finished products. Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India is the official Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India for laying down the standards for identity, purity and testing of homeopathic drugs. Government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Planning had constituted a Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee in 1962. The HPC was constituted in September 1962 on the recommendation of the Homeopathic Advisory Committee and Homeopathic Subcommittee of Drugs Technical Advisory Board on the question of control of homeopathic drugs under Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 and Rules 1945. The Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia is prepared by Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee constituted by the Government of India with the following objectives. To prepare a homeopathic pharmacopoeia, drugs whose therapeutic usefulness have been proved on line of the American, German and British homeopathic pharmacopoeia. To lay down principles and standards of the preparation of homeopathic drugs and the lay down test of identity, quality and purity. Such other matters are identical and necessary for the preparation of homeopathic pharmacopoeia. The function of the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Committee were further enlarged by the Ministry of Health and Family Planning also to prepare a pharmaceutical codex to give such a detailed information on drugs which were normally not given in pharmacopoeia, example, constituents use, etc. and to prepare standards on nosodes. In the year 1975, Government of India had set up Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Laboratory at Ghaziabad for laying down the standards for identity and the purity of testing homeopathic drugs. There were different editions of Indian Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia are published. In the year 1971, the first volume of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published, which contained monograph of 180 drugs. In the year 1974, second volume was published, which contained monograph of 100 drugs. Its revised edition was published in the year 1982. In the year 1978, the third volume of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published, which contained monograph of 105 drugs. In the year 1984, fourth edition of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published, which contained 107 drugs. And in the year 1987, the fifth edition of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published, which contained 114 drugs. In the year 1991, sixth edition of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia published, which contained 104 drugs. And in the year 1999, seventh edition of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia published, which contained 105 drugs. And in the year 2000, 8th edition of published, which contained 100 drug, and in the year 2016, 9th edition, which contained 100 drugs. And in the year 2011, the 10th edition of Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia published, which contained 101 drugs. Now let's about unofficial pharmacopoeia. In India, there is an unofficial pharmacopoeia which is known as M. Bhattacharya Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, the first unofficial pharmacopoeia. The first unofficial pharmacopoeia, Pharmaceutics Manual, was published by M. Bhattacharya and Co., Calcutta in 1893. Subsequently, it has run into several editions. The 10th edition, published in 1944, incorporated about 70 important Indian drugs. A thoroughly revised and enlarged 12th edition was published in July 1962 under the name and style of M. Bhattacharya and Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. Its 13th edition was published in the year 1970 and its 14th edition was published in 1980. In Mexico, there is a pharmacopoeia called Pharmacopoeia Homeopathica Mexicana, otherwise known as Mexican Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. The first edition of Mexican Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published in 1998 and its second edition was published in 2007. It included 469 monograph of homeopathic active ingredients, 89 monograph of homeopathic tinctures, 558 homeopathic preparations described in monographs. In Brazil, there is a pharmacopoeia called Pharmacopoeia Homeopathis Brasileira, otherwise known as FHB, also called Brazilian Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. The Brazilian Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published in 1976. Its second edition, Part 1, was published in 1997 and its third edition was published in 2011. In Pakistan, there is a pharmacopoeia called Pakistan Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. The Pakistan Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia was published by the Board of Homeopathic System of Medicine in 1978. The first edition was published in 1978 and its second edition was published in 1997. Now, let us discuss about monograph, that is preparation for homeopathic pharmacopoeia. General plan of pharmacopoeia is to lay down the directions for the selection and preparation of drug that are thoroughly adapted to the purpose of homeopathic prescribing. These directions and specifications for each drug are called monograph. The standards of purity and the strength are stated in the monographs of the pharmacopoeia and apply to substances that are intended for medicinal use, but not necessarily to substances that may be under same name for other purposes. All statements contained in the monograph constitutes standards for official substances. The requirements are not framed to provide against all possible impurities. A common format is generally employed to describe a drug. The pattern of monograph has the following features. In the herb-based preparations, otherwise known as plant kingdom, having the following monograph pattern. Name of the remedy with the abbreviation, botanical name, family, common names, descriptions, parts used, microscopical, macroscopical, identification test, distribution, history and authority, preparation, storage, and caution are to be included in the monograph. The animal and animal products are otherwise known as animal kingdom based preparation having the following monograph pattern. Name with abbreviations, zoological name, family, common name, descriptions, parts used, history and authority, preparation, storage, caution are to be included in the monograph. The minerals and chemicals based preparations having the following monograph pattern. Name with abbreviations, symbol, molecular weight, English name, description, identification, reaction, limit test, assay, history and authority, preparation, storage, caution are to be included in the monograph. In the diseased product and a tissue or nosodes based preparation having the following monograph patterns. Name with abbreviations, microbiological name, history and authority, biological distribution, source of preparations of homeopathic drugs, description or morphology of the organism, cultural characteristics, resistance and metabolism, biochemical reactions, preparations, storage, and cautions are to be included in the monograph. In the healthy products or tissue or sarcodes based homeopathic preparation having the following monograph pattern. Name with the abbreviation, microbiological name, history and authority, biological distribution, source of preparations of homeopathic drugs, description or morphology of the organism, cultural characteristics, resistance and metabolism, biochemical reactions, preparations, storage, and cautions are to be included in the monograph. The drugs of chemical origin preparation having the following monograph pattern. Description, identification, test as well as the method of assay for the establishment of the purity are to be furnished in the monograph. The preparation of homeopathic mother tincture or substances follows immediately after detail the drugs. Methods of manufacture of chemical substances unless specially described in the monograph, a chemical substances may be prepared by any method of provided by the substance conform to the pharmacopoeial standards. The monograph contains details about name of the drugs or remedy. The title of the monographs are given in conventional Latin names adapted by the homeopathic profession. The name that is in common usage with the homeopathic profession all over the world is used as the name of the monograph with its official abbreviation. Synonym, that is regional name of the drug within the outside of the country, and the synonyms of the original should be indicated. The synonym in various languages are those under which the drug is commonly known, and these names cannot be considered to have the same significance as the main title. The official description under this heading, a complete morphological description for identification of drug is given. The morphological characters that can be easily distinguished and those characters that can differentiate the source amongst the various species or varieties of the same family should be mentioned categorically so that no confusions result while collecting the material. Though morphologically correct, the different developmental stages of the plant can alter the constituents of a particular specimen and therefore effort should be made to fix the developmental stage as one of the parameters for collection. Standardization of source material is therefore very imperative. In Homeopathy Pharmacopoeia India, a significant inclusion is seen. The identification characters are presented more elaborately, given macroscopic and microscopic description of the source material and parts employed in the preparation of mother tincture. In the case of drugs of chemical origin, description, identification test as well as the method of assay for the establishment of the purity are incorporated. Parts used under this heading are given the substances that are to be employed as a unit of preparations. As far as possible, the original parts used in the preparations at the time of its proving should be included. Whether these are used in the fresh or dried state should be stated. The seasons of the collections and the age of the plant used are important. Regarding the identification, the tests described under the heading are provided only an idea to identification. There are not in all cases sufficient to establish the proof of identity. Regarding the distribution, soil and environmental conditions in which the plant grows should be included. Regarding the authority and the history, full details of this point are essential. There should be included the original literature relating to the proving and their various references. The first prover is mentioned in the first place and the remaining authorities in the alphabetical order. Regarding the preparation, the preparations of the homeopathic mother tincture or substances follow immediately after details of the drug. Method of manufacture chemical substances unless specifically described in the monograph. A chemical substances may be prepared by any method provided by the substances conform to pharmacopoeial standards. Regarding the storage, different types of storage may have a performed effects on the quality and therefore mentioned if necessary. That's all about Pharmacopoeia. Let me conclude. Thank you for watching. See you in the next session. Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Like,
Comments
share,
and
subscribe.